welcome to the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. I'm Jeff Ruzong. Hey, it's just a day before another public holiday, but hey, we have to be here to do our job. How you doing? How's your weekend? I'm Jeffrey Uzong. Guys?
All right, good morning, everyone viewing from around the world. It's not public holiday. I don't know why Jeff keeps hoping on public holidays because we don't have it. Public holiday. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of the Morning Brief. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm Anne Mwawadu.
Let's start off your week bright and early. Welcome to Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. Other states can argue with their keypads. Welcome to the show.
Maybe they'll be sending the maps of their states to all of us so that we can represent their states. So somehow. We keep talking about Lagos. Hey, the reason is simple. At Channels Television, Lagos is our global headquarters. So wherever you see Channels Television around the world, whether it's in the US, in the UK, in Abuja, and other wherever, country. This is the global headquarters of Channels Television. So hey, this is where it all happens, right here. Right here.
Absolutely.
Guys.
Meanwhile, how was your weekend? How did your weekend go? How did yours go?
Work, sleep.
Sleep?
Work, sleep.
Mine was tariff-filled. How was yours?
Are you enjoying the Band-Aid tariff?
I'm now using a Louis Vuitton light. Like, my light is Gucci right now.
Luxury light.
Luxury designer light, Band-Aid.
So no, did you buy
yeah, so what I used to buy for 150,000 would buy 2,053 units. Now it will buy me 666.6 units.
You're really the luxury girl.
All right. Okay, we're trying to cope.
And I know a lot of people have been talking about their experience, so let us know. People who used to buy 1,000 naira, you know, and I don't know how much 1,000 naira will get you, but now maybe 3 or 6.
0.1111 units, that's what will get you now.
So a lot of people are really concerned, so let's know what your experience has been. Some say that they've now been migrated by force to Band-Aid, and I say they don't want. But I thought we wanted 24-hour electricity, but the other side of this conversation is the fact that people are saying, should we be the ones, in quote, funding the discos, because that's how some people see it. They think this is a way to raise that much needed capital for the discos. Some others say, no, this is government removing subsidy from electricity. So that debate is still ongoing, but it's important to know how you are getting by, either as Band A, Band B, Band C, D,
or Q. Someone said, can they just take me to Q? So
but no alphabet, by the way. I was talking to the neck guy, like, for the people who don't have lights for weeks, how do you classify them? Actually, my weekend, one of the things I did at the weekend, actually, I went to pick my wife. I went to their office, my own disco's office, and I had to meet, I asked, who should I talk to? Because I have not been seeing lights, and the way I'm supposed to see light. And then I was referred to this person, and that person, and that person. Eventually, I had to go to their injection station. I think that's what they call it. They call it control unit or control room or something like that. I met the people, and look, I didn't meet the guy I was supposed to meet, so I made some calls and asked questions. I said, really, I want to know the band. I want to know why I'm not having light as I should have. And later told me I'm not like Anne, who's in luxury. They say I'm in Band B. But for some reason, I don't know whether it's my calls or my whatever that happened, that I started seeing light fairly better than it used to be since I moved to the new area. So thank you guys for whatever you did. Whether it's my call or it was just coincidence, I do not know. But another thing we want to say is that the Minister of Power had made some statement that has gotten him some flags. And this is the reason, Honorable Minister, why you're getting those flags, in case nobody has said it. It is the fact that Nigerians are not really interested in lecture on consumption management. That's why they are angry. What they want is supply, and then we can now talk about, but when you use your power the way you're not supposed to use it, and your data or your unit is running out by yourself, let me say it like Nigerian, you will look for a way to turn off the things you're supposed to turn off.
Right.
The responsibility of the government is to provide the power in the first place. That's why you're getting the flags you're getting. People who are not interested in lectures on how to put off AC or put off freezer and all of that. Another thing again, when people say we use one of the cheapest power, if Providence has provided for us that we should use cheap power, what is the crime in it? If the rest of the world is using expensive electricity, and by Providence, for whatever reason, I don't know, we now are privileged to have cheaper, there's no crime in it. That's why I look at this thing. So at the end of the day, let's not begin to build a capitalist economy and elitist society where we cut out the middle class, because right now the middle class is under threat. And what happens in that kind of society is that crime will increase, because either you have the poor and the rich. So everybody wants to just go to that hierarchy. My 2 cents.
All right, but before we continue, I think I'd also say this for some people who had issues, because on Wednesday you could buy with the normal tariff if you were a normal band, but for some they have been reduced to, or maybe downgraded to band B. So if you were able to buy more units on Wednesday and on Thursday you were not able to buy the same amount of units, NERC has released an official email where you can send your complaints to, and make sure you send an email to NERC complaints@nerc.gov.ng. So if you're band B to E and you're a customer of the tariff regime that was that's the old regime, that's the 67, 68 naira, and you bought units for 200 and something naira, then you have to make your complaints, and it'll be reversed.
Maybe it's a technical glitch.
For those, for those complaining about buying lesser units for what they used to buy before, and you're at band B, make sure you send your complaints to NERC.
So let's do that together, right? We have to do this together, so ensure that the power sector is fixed. But my weekend was quite interesting, because I got a chance to travel through some of the roads that have just been constructed in some parts of the country. And, you know, I almost teared up, you know, driving through roads that hitherto you had to dance, do a lot of dancing, worry for your car's shocks, and, you know, just pray through it. Sometimes you're driving through that road at night and you're just hoping that no one comes to, you know,
pops out.
You know. And I just realized that these things shouldn't be tough. As you said, we're a blessed nation to a large extent. Whether or not we're a rich nation is another conversation entirely, because we see what poverty is doing. But we don't have a reason to be where we are right now. So driving through those routes, I didn't know whether to say thank you to government or say, well, you've better late than never. You've done your job anyway, so keep doing your jobs. But it's important to fix these basic things. Roads should not be something you have to pray for. It should not be something you have to be worried about. They should be a given. So yeah, kudos to government for fixing those roads, both federal and state. It can actually make you live a longer life in Nigeria, just fixing roads. So let's keep at that, government. It's good to see.
Okay, we've said a lot, and there's a lot to say. And I know you've been talking. We're going to get to that point where we get to hear from you on X as well as on what do you call it now, WhatsApp. But first, let's come back to what we're doing today on the program. Now, the beauty of the advent of social media is the democratization of opportunity and amplification of the thought for the voiceless people. But where does that liberty stop? And what exactly constitutes what is called cyber defamation in the eyes of the law? So, the advice this morning is, before you put up your next content, you may want to listen to legal minds on the show today as they walk us through the fine lines of what may or may not land you in jail.
Okay, so it's now days since the rehabilitated Third Mainland Bridge was fully reopened. We remember that happened last week for users right here in Lagos. Yet again, we're examining the many parts of what you need to know while driving on that bridge so you don't run foul traffic laws that you may not have to be aware of. Well, the Federal Director of Works in Lagos will join us for more on the show, so you might want to stick with us to make sure you get all the details on that.
Absolutely, particularly that speed limit conversation. We need to break it down for you.
That one is very tempting.
Oh, it is very. Plus, she dared, she drove, and she conquered. Today on the show, we celebrate the daring content creator turned solo driver who arrived on Sunday, April 7th, that's yesterday, after leaving London on January the 31st in a small car. That's in a quest to fulfill a dream of daring a road trip across continents. Pelumi Nubi comes on the show, oh yes, to tell us about things we didn't see on the trip, her experience, and how she came back with that wide smile on her face. It's going to be a bumper one, guys.
Absolutely. She conquered a lot of things, including that accident on her way down to Lagos from London. So, hey, congratulations to her. Also, congratulations to the gentleman. Is it Darina that swam across
oh, yes.
Across the Third Mainland Bridge.
So, young people are breaking record or just fulfilling their dreams. So, hey, but that's not all. Remember, You can talk to us on X, just CTV Morning Brief, as well as our WhatsApp number is going to be scrolling on your screen pretty soon. So send your messages as well as your videos. As soon as we authenticate those content, we'll put it out here to amplify your voice. Do not shy away from sending it. We call it the community show. That's why we have you engaging us and us engaging you. It's going to be a great show. Yeah. It's the first edition for the week ahead of the holiday. I like to say that. The president is even
holiday, and I'll keep attacking you, Jeffrey.
No, the truth is that the president is even here on holiday. So hey, we got to talk about it. All right. So that's exactly how the show is going to look like today. But first up, we'll bring you your top stories. Join us again. Top on the brief this morning, the president is in town. I mean, he's here in Lagos at his Bodilon private residence ahead of the Eid al-Fitr celebration to mark the end of the Ramadan fast. The nation's #1 citizen was received on Sunday evening by the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and other top government officials at the presidential wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Whilst in the nation's commercial nerve center, President Tinubu will observe moments of prayers for Nigeria with family to mark the solemn occasion. Meanwhile, the federal government has declared Tuesday, April the 9th and Wednesday, April the 10th as public holidays to mark Eid al-Fitr celebrations to end the fast in the holy month of Ramadan for our Muslim faithful. And for those who are concerned about the future of the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, following the seeming unending leadership crisis in his party, Mr. Obi says he's going nowhere. His focus, according to him, is to ensure a peaceful resolution to the challenges rocking the party. Mr. Obi was in Gombe State to donate boreholes to Pantamiship Market. Also believes the electricity hike should be subsidized for the poor, but okay's hike for the well-to-do. And let's now check in with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, who have set up a hybrid forum for complaints resolution across the country to ensure better service delivery for consumers. The Commission believes the ongoing tariff review is a precursor to a larger plan to give consumers positive experience in harnessing public utility service for homes and businesses. Those assurances are coming from the Commission's Executive Vice Chairman, Dr. Misluyo Sani, during a chat with Channels Television.
I think currently we have in 33 locations. So if the forum rules in your favor and this school doesn't comply, you can appeal to head office. But at the same time, sometimes we don't have to let you pass through that process. If your complaint comes directly to the commission, we have to attend to it, even if it hasn't got to the forum. But you to show us evidence that you have reported the complaint, you have complained to the disco and it hasn't been addressed. So we have that, and we are doing so many on-the-spot resolutions. And the commission is also trying to leverage technology also to ensure that some of these town hall meetings we do, that is in different locations, we can also do some of them online, so that the people that can not attend the physical one may be available online. The commission is working on that.
What's the future of energy affordability in Nigeria based on this new tariff that you brought in?
I think the future is bright, personally. As I said, if you get the service, you are better off compared to when you don't get the service. One is that apart from the cost of alternative generation, the other point is that if power is available, is an engine of growth and is an ingredient to economic prosperity.
And to more stories, 50 million naira. Yes, you heard that right. 50 million naira is what the abductors of 2 students of the Federal University Wukari in Taraba State are now demanding as ransom. The demand for the sum was disclosed by the institution's head of Information and Protocol Unit late night on April the 3rd, 2024. A shop attached to the hostel accommodating the students outside the campus, where about 90% of them live, came under attack by kidnappers, leading to the abduction of the 2 students who were working as staff of a restaurant. And now the rivalry between incumbent governors and their predecessor is antithetical to advancing development for the people. That's coming from the former governor of Imo State, Mr. Ekedi Hakim, who condemns the failure of successors to continue with the meaningful projects of their predecessors. While speaking at the Thanksgiving service in Oguta, Imo State, Mr. Hakim believes a smooth transition will be, or smooth relationship will be in the interest of the states.
To be able to better appreciate the gains of continuity, even if potentially it is better to illustrate with what the absence of continuity could give rise to in the light of our own experience in the state. Number one, take the Wonder Lake project at Oguta, which my administration started. When we went to the capital market to raise the seed fund for that project, it was oversubscribed by Nigerians. That project, which was designed to create over 2,000 jobs, was discontinued after I left office, and the huge fund in the project account misapplied. If that project had not been abandoned, what Uzodinma administration is doing today with respect to the Rush River dredging and free trade zone project would have been complementary and a continuation of the Wonder Lake project. Today, the benefits would have been enormous, especially as it would have cost the state less. However, I feel quite vindicated that another visionary leader was able to see what we saw earlier.
Let's talk about some exciting things now. Pelumi Nubi has not just fulfilled her passion, but has now demonstrated that driving from Lagos to London is a possibility for those who dare. The content creator embarked on a solo trip from London to Lagos on January the 31st, 2024, and arrived Nigeria-Benin Republic border to a heroic welcome, I should say, and was received by the Lagos state government officials and others. Pelumi's second stop was Badagry before she headed to the University of Lagos for the homecoming celebrations. On her way to Nigeria, she was involved in an accident but went through it to fulfill her dream.
Honestly, I think we should do more audacious things as humans. I think it's very important to step out of our comfort zone. I really wanted to explain the continent I was born into as well. I did not see enough representation. I didn't know people that look like me, so I wanted to do that. You know, showcase our beautiful continent to people. And by road allows you the freedom to stop whenever you choose to. I decided to use the same car I've had because I didn't want that to stop me. Use the things you have, use the equipment you have. And yeah, I just wanted to document it so other people will be inspired to step out of their comfort zone and do brilliant things and, you know, audacious things as well.
We were the security that we put in place, that we followed her every hour. She will send the Google map of where she's sleeping, in the forest, in the desert, anywhere. So, first person to call the following morning, the night was well, then I'm moving now. So when she gets to the next settlement, she'll tell, it's a journey together for the last 2 months. So that's why I said we can sleep now.
That's a daring adventure, if you ask. She's going to join us on the show today to explain all of that. But let's move on now to other stories. We get to business. It appears business for Bureau de Change operators is not as rosy as it should be. Its umbrella body, that's known as APCON, is now appealing to the central bank to adjust and lower its applicable exchange rate downgraded below the 1,251 to $1 pegged by the Apex Bank. The Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria is saying that it has become a bit more expensive for them. The request by the BDCs, as conveyed in the letter, is coming amid historic development where, for the first time in 15 years, the parallel market rate of 1,235 naira per dollar is lower than the official rate of 1,252 naira per dollar, which is the applicable exchange rate for the BDCs. And now just one brigade of Israeli soldiers is all that is left in southern Gaza. That's talking about the international scene, reducing the number of IDF personnel in the area. In a move that is seen as tactical rather than a sign of an end to the war against Hamas, Israel maintains that a significant force will remain in Gaza. Israel says it is another stage in the 6-month war effort, as both Hamas and Israel have now sent delegation to Cairo to join a fresh ceasefire negotiation. And the sports now, Super Falcons captain Rasheedat Ajibade has asked Nigerians to have confidence in the ability of the team to earn a ticket to the Women's Olympic football tournament that's taking place in France as they arrive in South Africa for a battle with the Bayana of Pretoria on Tuesday night. The Ajibade strike from the penalty spot and Nigeria a lone goal victory over the visitors in the first leg in Abuja on Friday. And even as there is all to play for in the return in South Africa's administrative capital, the Atletico Madrid A says the players will be profiled and propelled to victory, knowing that the fate of over 200 million Nigerians is in them. And it's unwavering. 9-time African champions are scheduled to have the official training at the Loftus Veerveld Stadium by 7:30 p.m. later today. But let's be clear, we are supporting the Super Falcons. They did it and they have to do it again. So Ajibade, do not worry, we're all for you. So go there and get the result. And let's head out to France and get the trophy as much as possible. Well, those are the stories we've been tracking for you in, say, the last 24 hours. And it will shape part of our conversation for the show and for the rest of the day. Anna joins me as we take a look at some of the things you've been talking about on X. And what have they been saying? Thanks, as always.
The first, of course, that's topping headlines now and trending is that the federal government is set to launch the new national ID with payment capabilities. And this first one is coming from People's Choice, saying that why a new one? I mean, why when they have not even done registering or giving people the old card? Yes, that is it. From People's Choice, federal government is set to launch this new national ID. Why new one when they're not even done with the old one? They want to put us into another stress like NIN and voters card. Now, if you recall the stress we had to pass through that period, I don't know if anyone wants to go through that again, except they make it different this time and make it seamless.
People are just tired of this repeat and rinse process when it comes to capturing our data as a population. So you can't blame them for getting worried. Mayowa David says, I see a lot of people criticizing this ID card. Before you criticize, try to understand, or else you will look like, I don't know what he's trying to say, person. If you don't ask, if you don't know, ask. It's not a new enrollment for ID that is named. It's a new card that you can use to do transactions, withdraw money after linking with your bank account. It carries your NIN numbers and no enrollment, just a request for the card, and that's all instead of the slip we're using now till it will be card.
All right.
I never got my card, by the way.
You never
got my card.
Wow, and I'm sure you're not the only one. A lot of people are in this shoot.
Maybe I didn't follow up, I don't know, but I got tired at some point.
It's tiring. Pentacle says that the NIN thing has not been successfully implemented, and now this. Am I the only one who thinks we aren't there yet? This development is rushed and has to be streamlined across the board.
The Emperor says this really will be nice. I think it's long overdue. Other countries are doing it already. So for those who have exposure outside the country, I'm sure they
think they want to make it look like the social security number, something like that.
Just integrate all of this so that we don't have to. I hope that when this is done, we're not going to look for another card because it looks like, anyway. And what's the next one? Maybe the
other card would be for something else. But Kate Jude says, it's a welcome development, but I hope we're copying other countries like the United States to implement their social security number and national identity system. We also copy and implement their minimum wage, which ours is the lowest in the world when you compare to other oil producing countries. So I think Katie Jude is trying to say if we're copying, then copy everything that is good from these countries that you're trying to copy from.
Yes, I can't forget, I've forgotten what his name, but I remember seeing a snippet online where he said, we like to copy and paste. Please, if you can't paste properly, stop copying.
Okay.
So when people say Nigeria has the cheapest, we also have one of the lowest minimum wage. So when you want to copy copy everything.
And if
so
you
that
can't,
in this country, no grief for anybody. That is a slogan for young people. Let's go to Lagos State to demolish popular landmark market, a landmark beach, because it's been a big issue.
Yes.
The Lagos-Calabar road, that road is going to crisscross about 9 states or so, and it's going to cost billions of naira, or maybe billions of dollars, I don't know. It's causing a bit of an issue. It's called the Coastal Road. So it's about 700 kilometers. I think it's going to be one of the biggest infrastructure projects ever I have heard. I don't know, I stand to be corrected. The Lagos, the third mainland bridge is barely 11 kilometers.
Yes.
It was built around 10 years or so. This is dual carriage, 5 lanes to your left, 5 lanes to your right. And then the center, the median, is going to have a rail line from Lagos all the way down to Calabar, and is intense. So that's going to affect some properties, some investments and all of that. So landmark beach property or the landmark park is one of those places that will be affected. And I understand the gentleman had invested about 200 or so. $100 million.
$100 million. And there are also investors who will be affected with this. So
people have been reacting.
Yeah, people are talking about it already. Imar Rock says that it is highly unethical to cripple businesses along this route because today, Landmark directly employs 4,000 Nigerians and 12,000 indirectly. The Minister of Works and the government should facilitate this rerouting process, I beg. That also tells you that when you cut businesses, a lot of people are also affected.
Yeah.
So you weigh the options, you weigh whatever advantages and disadvantages this will cause.
At the end of the day, too, when you're making investment, this is especially to Lagos, because when we had a conversation with the Lagos State Governor, these are some of the issues I raised that this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but in relation that people need to know where they can do what, so that when the government comes, they don't take it down at the end of the day.
Yeah, so that's the whole area.
So that's the area on your screen. So that's the beach area. It has other investments. So this is the swimming pool area. So it's a fantastic facility, but all of this may go down because of that road. So,
But Jeffrey, I'm also asking, I mean, you said, people should know where to do business and investments, or they should ask questions. What if they asked questions? What if these plans were not in the beginning, at the beginning? I mean, you can't tell me this place is for building something and then I'll go and invest there.
Yes, what I mean by that is that we've seen buildings or infrastructure go up and then the government brings it down.
Yes.
And sometimes is the failure to find out what. Sometimes it's the complicity of the officials of government.
Yes.
So let's go. This person says, Adigun Oluwatobi says, Jesus, we are now driving out local investors. I think the government officials or the resorts and the contractor can reach out and reach an understanding and come up with a construction masterpiece which will boost tourism. That's his opinion rather.
All right, and the next person also talks about, but everyone knows there is pain for plan for a coastal road. I don't support any demolition, but people should know to avoid that route as it could be built at some point, even when they have been planning, or they had been planning this since 2007.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what Felix is saying.
Okay, let's race through this now. Odufua says, not in support of anything wrong. Did somebody or some agency give the go-ahead to build this same beach resort? Yes, that's a big question. Or did the man just decide to build without due permission? This calls for a lot of questions. Those are the balance we're looking for.
Yes, Inyang says that if Nigeria has to be good for foreign investors to come in, a lot of sacrifices must be made. Some will cry, some will be happy, but in the long run, everything and everybody will go happy. It's going to be a tough one, only if the government really means business and are transparent.
Ironia says, with the way our government move, how do they plan to attract investors? Nobody wants to invest in Nigeria with news going around like this. Yes, I understand where they're coming from. Yes. It's a lot of work. But let's see. I don't know whether we have any more time.
Yeah, we have more time. Let's show Pelumi a little. Let's rush through that. Original Joss says that people who embark on such trips...
Okay, hold on. I think Pelumi is on the screen.
Oh, okay, Pelumi. All right, so that's Pelumi on your screen, and she was so happy coming in. This is from Original Just Girl. Says, the people who embark on such trips are very strong. I really admire them. Congratulations to her. She is obviously a strong woman.
She's a daring, strong woman. Elvis Rankin says, traveling is part of education. She's an adventurous human being. I can imagine what she told her father to say, I want to travel. The father is... Anyway.
We'll find out when she comes on the show. Those are the questions
we'll find out today, because I can imagine my daughter comes and I want to drive from Lagos to Lagos. I say, where do you want to... Where you go? Oh, okay. Anyway, but we'll be talking to Pelumi. She will answer all of that question today on the show. But there's a lot more to talk about besides all of that. One of which is what constitutes cyber defamation. And we've advised, before you tweet or post anything on X or on Instagram or on Facebook, please listen to the show today. This first segment, the lawyers will be here to explain exactly what constitutes all of that. We'll be right back after this break. Join us again. Welcome back. Let's now talk cyber defamation. What exactly does it mean, and what can constitute an offense when it comes to defamation? The lawyer is here to bring perspective and insight to all of that, because they say we're not learned. They are the learned ones. We're just lettered. So that's why they will bring those explainers. We're being joined in the program by a former chairman of the MBA Keja branch and a social justice activist. He's also known as a radicalist, legal practitioner, Mr. Adeshina Ogulona. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Yes.
Well, I'm sure we're going to get some radical ideas and information from you today about this. But we've seen across the social media the incident that involved a gospel artist recently. And we've seen suits being filed in court and all of that. I'm sure it's a premise for some of this conversation, although it's been there. However, the reason we're doing this, I want to quote something from the Penal Code, which is section 3043, in the interest of the general public. It says, a person is presumed, unless the contrary is proved, to have knowledge of a material fact, if that fact is a matter of common knowledge. I know you will be able to expatiate on what this means, but I know you know what I'm talking about, because everybody needs to understand this. So let's begin with the basics. People just throw around the word defamation, but there are integral parts to it. There's the issue of slander and libel. What exactly is defamation? What constitutes defamation in the eyes of the law?
Well, thank you.
Cyber defamation, I should add.
Cyber. Well, defamation itself is almost self-explanatory. Defame minus fame. Somebody is supposed to have a reputation established, already known. You're a journalist, I'm a lawyer, and all that. Now somebody now reduces that intentionally, maliciously, without basis, unjustifiably. And when you're now adding cyber to it, you're talking of cybernetics, computer networks, and you know the computer itself is quite a strong, massive weapon, if I can use it, for broadcasting, distribution of information. So it becomes quite very potent when you never call it, whether it's qualified privilege, whether it's fair comment, and whether the heaviest justification, whether the guy really has justification for what he's saying, because the mere fact that you are 70 or 80 does not mean that you cannot be naughty, or in fact reckless and irresponsibly so, you know. So you, but that would be the onus, sorry, not you. So the onus is going to be on whoever. But then, on the other side, when you talk of freedom of expression, the president is actually our servant. You are talking of democracy. The president is actually our employee. He begged us to put him there. He contested, in fact, he frustrated, in some cases, even gave inducement and all that, just to be there. So if you talk down on your employee, well, you are privileged in a way. He's a bad boy. And you know, among Yoruba people, they say, even the king, whom they call Allah Sheikh Jorisha, the companion of the gods, there they will say, we call him by name. They say, oh, you come. In the privacy of their homes, that we call the king by name, irreverently. When you get in front of him, Shao, but when you are discussing about the Oba of Lagos, I say Akinolu, we just talk, but not that when you go in front of him and all that. So in a way, and when you think of democracy and the jurisprudence behind democracy, democracy is a diminution, a reduction, and it's a strong alternative and counterforce to monarchy. Democracy is about a counter to absolutism and the tyranny, infused powers of monarchy. And so democracy says you can't be a judge, at the same time being the king, and at the same time being the lawmaker, who will separate it. And above all, the only king we are going to have is the law. If you even the king, you are under the law. That's why the president of a country is never a king. And up to now, the Africans are yet to understand democracy in its proper perspective. In our language, we call it Ijoba. Government is called Ijoba. It's wrong. It's not Ijoba. Ijoba, Oba Jije, the making of a king, the ruling of a king, the doing of a king. That is the old world order of the Africans. They are yet to come to terms with what democracy is. That's why it's a big deal that the president is, African president, feel offended that people are irreverent and you say His Excellency. I can't remember last when the president of America is called His Excellency, the president and the commander in chief. It's not done. It's not done. You know, that idea, when you promote the beauty of democracy, is about liberty. It's about equality. It's about raising and a departure from being subject to citizenship.
If I may butt in, because you know we're talking about cyber defamation, so we're going to contextualize it as much as possible. But you made some very strong point. However, young people will look at it a bit differently. I don't know what the law will say, because cultural context. When a young man says, that guy is bad, doesn't necessarily mean that is the opposite.
It may even be swell, like you are nice.
So that guy is very good.
It's good, yes.
So we had, God rest his soul, Mobad, you know, all of that. So I just wanted to posit that. But I want us to break it down further for the purpose of young people who can get themselves into trouble by what. So I want you to separate what constitutes, under defamation, what is slander, what is libel, what is vulgar abuse, and all of this.
Okay.
And what can prove, what action can you take in terms of, say, somebody defamed me? Olusegun in his legal writing says the words will be defamatory by definition. It will refer to the plaintiff, the words will be published. I want you to break it down, because some people would just say, I just made an innocent statement. How far is innocent? How innocent is an innocent statement? So break it down for us: slander, libel, and vulgar abuse.
Oh, thank you so much.
Specifics.
Thank you. Well, let's start with the littlest, if I can use that term, vulgar abuse. Vulgar abuse are vituperations in fit of anger, and it's immediate. It's face to face. You're stupid, and the classic example, Ole or Lusha, it was to Losemori, and there's a case. It's actually you thief, you that are an ex-convict, but they are fighting and they are abusing them. Say, you're flinging what's even marriages. It happen at home. It's happen when people lose their temper. You understand, and the law will recognize, well, it's all these things are said in fit of anger, and it's immediate. You are counterpunching so that you get nasty to each other and everything. Usually when men and women are fighting, usually people say harlot. It doesn't really mean the woman, you say harlot. You bastard. Even parents fling words at a child. Say, Omale. You are angry, you're upset, and you're shouting abuses at yourself. Generally, the law will not, talking from the point of view
that's
of
not justiciable.
No, it's not. The law will say, well, you people are arguing, you are fighting, you are pummeling yourself verbally. You understand? Now, when you talk about defamation and slander, the slander of it is verbal, but it's calculated, it's cool, you are doing it deliberately. You go somewhere, like this, an audience, just three of us, assume you are in a room, and I begin to say, do you know that lecturer, that HOD, that man? Hey, that man is a terrible person, no. He does not only collect sexual favors, you can pay by money. In fact, he does this, he does this, he does this. Words of mouth. It's not painted, it's not documented, but you are my target audience. That's defamation. You said the man is, in fact, the man is fraudulent in his work. That's the summary of it. And he's an extortionist. He takes gratification before he could. And absolutely professionally perverse, because once you give him money, you must pass, even when you are a dunce. So you really bring him down.
So can you sue in that context?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And in those kind of cases, the lecturer will now need to bring witnesses, because since it's not recorded, nothing was recorded. So I was there now when he said this, when he said that, when just like there was a trial, there are some instances of trials in the Bible when some people testify against him and say, oh, he said we'll do this, he spoke against God, he spoke against the king, and all that.
So libel.
But libel is got to be documented. In fact, it's easier to prove because documents don't lie. In the old days, it used to be basically print, later audio recording or visual recording, now internet. When people say internet does not sleep, it does not forget, you can dig back, because it's permanent. It's the permanence that makes the punishment, the sanction, heavier, because
how many years are we talking about here?
No, depends on, if we are talking thoughts, normally before, you can punish defamation under the laws of thoughts. There used to be criminal defamation too, but it's been expanded now when you have the Cyber Stalking Act, Cyber Prohibition, Cyber Prevention Crimes Act and all that. So sometimes it can be as much as 6 years, as much as 7 years, coupled with fines. So when somebody says, I'm just talking innocently, like you said, how innocent is the innocence? Because usually people don't talk innocently. People talk maliciously. People talk bitterly, and people tend to exaggerate. Maybe the fellow slapped a person. Well, you say, if you see the way he removed the man's teeth, and nothing like that has happened. You have expanded the story.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Totally out of time. We needed to engage you a lot more on this because I see that you're referencing the Criminal Code section 313 and 315 and all of that. So I wanted you to break it up because I wanted to also bring the issue of comedy and AI in all of this because when you look at that code, it could be tricky.
It's not tricky.
I understand we're totally out of time. So whatever I want to say, can you say it in 30 seconds? We're totally out of time.
Okay. The thing is that when you want to utter statements against people, you have to be very careful and put yourself in their shoes and the shoes of the ordinary person. Because you have the freedom of expression on one side, but at the same time, the law is conscious of the need to prevent needless harm and trauma to the other side.
I must thank you, Mr. Adeshina Ogunlona, legal practitioner known as a radicalist, former chairman MBA Ikeja branch, and a social justice activist. Thank you so much for your insights on this particular subject.
You're welcome, please. Thank you.
Well, that's it. We told you to listen up before you get posting on X, Facebook, or Instagram. Now that you know, I guess you know how to go about that. Well, we'll shift gears now. We'll come back. The Third Mainland Bridge has been reopened to users a few days now. So the aftermath of it, the Director of Works joins us for that conversation after this break. Join in again.
Living with dyslexia, I've had to rely on people for a lot of things. And as a woman of color, I've had limitations placed on me. This is one place I can be myself. I've found my freedom in travel.
Welcome back. And before we went on that short break, Jeffrey said we were going to the Third Mainland Bridge. But before we go to the Third Mainland Bridge, let's talk about a woman, an amazing, someone who has achieved a great feat, Pelumi Nubi. We told you earlier we're going to have her on the show, and she's live here. We have to clap. I wish I brought champagne to just pop for you.
Like we did yesterday.
And it's too early in the morning.
No.
It's too early.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere else.
She deserves it. But Pelumi Nubi Pelumi is a Nigerian travel and lifestyle content creator with a remarkable global footprint, having explored over 80 countries. And now she is currently, well, she has embarked on this solo road trip from London to Lagos. She started this January 30th. But I'd like to ask first, how did you even come about this? What inspired this decision? Did you just wake up one morning and say, oh, I want to do this?
It's a mixture of both, honestly. Like you said, I've been a world traveler. I've traveled to so many places, explored so many culture. And each time I was traveling, it was mostly like, you know, to Europe, to Asia. But my own continent, I barely had any footprint there. So I was like, I want to explore more of this place I was born into. So I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. I grew up in the UK. And each time I came home, I just kind of flew. That 6 hours, you know, you leave the code and then you come to the one place. But then there was just this West African region I haven't actually fully immersed myself in, and I wanted to. So I started Googling overland travel, and I just did not see people that looked like me. There was no explorers in terms of like just being showcased in the media, and I was like, this needs to be changed in terms of we do travels. Why is our story not being told? Why is the African nation in terms of tourism not being explored, in terms of like showcased more in a more positive light at least? So it was just a combination of things. It was connecting my two homes. It was inspiring, like, you know, black travelers that you can do audacious things, you can step out of your comfort zone, and obviously that must has transitioned out of travel to, you know, every other thing like their daily lives. So yeah, I just wanted to do something audacious. I'm crazy, as a lot of people like to say, and just, you know, enjoy traveling and showcasing the world.
You know, I was expecting to see like black eye, you know, bags under the eye, just tiredness, and you're here looking super gorgeous.
Thank you. So
throughout that trip, I mean, it took you how many months? Oh.
So the whole trip was about more than 60 days. I think someone counted to 68 days. Wow. So 2 months on the road. I tried to maintain the look, you know, it's a signature look. Nice. But yeah, and once you rest, you know, you get some good night rest, you kind of reset for the next day. But it was tedious. The time on the road was, you know, you had its highs and lows, but I'm so grateful for the adventure.
You know, I just had to check on the map, London to Lagos. Yeah. So I'm looking at it now. So you, you know, the map says, is it 4 days and 2 hours by road? But obviously, it's not counting.
Well, it depends on what routes. But right now, I'm seeing that it's taking you straight down.
Exactly. So let's walk through the route, because a lot of people are asking. On the one hand, a lot of people are asking so they can replicate it.
Just make sure you have the right documentation.
Exactly. So walk us through what your route was like.
So started in the UK. Yeah. I know people see a body of water and immediately they panic. They're like, oh my God, you know, there's a ferry. You put the car into the ferry and takes you to the other side. It takes you about an hour and a half, and then you get out of the other side and continue the journey. So that's what I had to do. So I had to cross the English Channel into France, made my way down through Spain. When you get to Spain, you want to get into the African continent through Morocco, you take another ferry. So from Tarifa is where I took the ferry, crossed into, and just kept making my way through the coastal region. So I used the I stayed to the West Africa. So you can go down north, you can go to the east, but the choice was, yes, exactly, the choice I made was that.
So you can thank us for this. We've given you an insight.
For the
Expo, right?
But they have your visa, by the way.
Exactly, which is something you mentioned. So maybe talk us through how you had to go through each of those countries, what they requested from documentation. Again, we're not trying to give you expo, but just to take you through our experience. So walk us through that experience.
So I am very, very privileged in terms of I have dual citizen. So I'm both British and Nigerian. So that gave me, you know, extra expo in terms of like ease of passage. So through Europe all the way to the Gambia, it was visa free. So I was just kind of presenting my documentation, my passport, presenting the car ownership. So it's the V52 from the UK that I own the vehicle, my insurance of the vehicle, and all of that. I think that's literally the three main things I needed. And yeah, that got me through. And then once I got to Guinea-Bissau, I transitioned passports so I could start using my ECOWAS to go through all this countries. So I actually did not have to pay for any visas, which is an amazing, you know, cost saving thanks to that. But yeah, so that's how I just navigated those two things.
We could see but before I ask, you're going to talk about that accident that we're all alarmed for, what happened there. But in addition to responding to what happened with the accident, how did you convince your father, the professor, that I want to do this? And What did you do for him to agree?
Or your mom in this
My
case?
mom, which is in the building actually. Shout out to her.
It's a father of the mom. You know, fathers and daughters.
They have a
connection.
Number one is kind of having a history or track record of traveling. So like I said, this is not my first thing. It was meticulously planned. It took a year of planning. So just showing that level. He's a very logical thinker, my dad. So showing that kind of level of preparation, not a spontaneous, oh, I'm just going to do this, I think gave him a bit of pace. It definitely worried, as any father or mother would, but there was just kind of like, she's done this before. I've traveled to Namibia, 4,000 kilometers solo drive, me and the car, wild camping, you know, things like that. I've done London to Lake Como in Italy. I've done Lagos to Ghana twice by road. So those previous experience, I think travel is like training a muscle. The more you do it, the more experience you have. You get this kind of experience on the road. So showing those kind of like, and doing those successfully and making it back home, I think it just gave them that relief that, okay, this is bigger, this is grander, this is a lot more daring.
You're stressed.
I am.
You're stressed.
Typical Nigerian parents.
Oh my God, totally.
Trust me, you're stressed.
Well, let's talk about the challenges that you had to. That was when.
That was in Togo, yes. Yeah. That was in the fetish market in Togo. I love just culture immersing myself in places I go to. It's not just a drive. It's really seeing the place and exploring it, trying the local cuisine, and really showcasing the place I go to. Because travel is more than just, you know, being on the roads. But it's to really have a better understanding of the place you are. I had a good time. Like, this trip was amazing. This was in Mojo, and it was just a beautiful place. Exactly. This is what tourism is about. It's about pushing tourism. And I'm so delighted to be able to do that here in Lagos, Nigeria.
There's so many people that will not put their legs out there.
Oh yeah, honestly, everyone's like, careful, it's deep. I'm like,
but it's
life is about, it's Pelumi
now.
So tell us about that accident.
So that happened in Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire.
Where we lost the finals.
Well, exactly. I feel like you should have just avoided the
That's the accident on
Sadly, yes. It was an impact on a truck. So it started from the border. So this is not a one-off occasion in terms of, or an isolated occasion. It's a bigger picture, which I definitely want to like expand on a bit more. So I crossed the border in Ivory Coast at 10 a.m. I wasn't allowed to actually leave the border post till 7 p.m. Just back and forth, bribery, wanting me to pay for documentation I did not need or need to pay for 10 to 7. And this is not the first time I've been delayed for such a prolonged amount. You know, Liberia, I was there for 2 nights. You know, just back and forth on documentations, and just like, traveling within Africa in terms of the freedom that we say we have is not necessarily there. So that needs to be worked on. So yeah, and I looked around, I didn't feel safe. I haven't researched this particular area because I had plans. I'll cross the border and I'll drive to a certain place. I've researched. Remember, I'm doing this solo, so I couldn't just be spontaneous in things like my safety. So I was like, okay, let me just drive to where I was going to. It was a fairly easy drive, you know, but it was dark. And there was a parked truck with no warning sign, no hazard one. Exactly. Normally, even if they don't have the red triangle, they put like leaves or something just to warn you that there's a stagnant truck. And no reflectors, nothing. And it was pitch black. So it happened so quickly. Like, I was driving one moment and suddenly I impacted it. So that was the crash that happened. Whoa. And yeah, so the car kind of like was going and then turned. When the impact happened, the on kept on going. So the whole neighborhood or the community woke up. They came with flashlights. They tried to open the passenger seat and my seat and the driver's seat, and it was stuck. So I literally had to crawl. So thank God I was not hurt. I was bruised, but not like broken bones or anything like that. I was in the hospital for 2 days. And they wanted me to press charges on the truck driver. And I was like, he was at the wrong, but this is a ripple effect of the border. I shouldn't have been on the road at that time anyways. So that's why, you know, these people just, we're just delaying that to get money, but they're actually costing life. And this is not the first, this is not the second time it happened on my travels. So I think definitely policy change in terms of who is regulating these borders, what are they doing, how are we keeping them in check, are they just free liberating to make up laws, you know, when it's not. I had this took a year of planning. I had all the right documentation. It was just a case of, we could intimidate her, she's a woman, you know, all of that stuff.
Which brings me to my next question. I mean, I followed your trip, and some places, especially in Africa, you had challenges, you slept a while, you took a while at the borders. Which brings me to, do we really need new policies in terms of relationship in the African continent? Because I know, coming from where you were coming from, you had no problem, almost no problem, well, no challenges. But when you got to Africa, traveling within Africa, I mean, I've traveled within Africa, sometimes it's even more difficult than traveling out of Africa. What do you need governments across African countries need to do?
I think definitely just not written policy, but actually it being implemented in terms of, you know, this freedom, this ECOWAS was speaking about, for example, why am I still paying for a stamp just for you to stamp my passport? You know, which fact checking these people, you know, who are actually calling them to check if something goes wrong, and listening to travelers like myself. You know, when government officials are traveling, they have the privilege of having, you know, their official vehicles and stuff like that. So they do not see the everyday man travelers. So when bloggers and travel content creators and things are out there saying, look, this is tough, we need to do something about it. And you're right, it does affect trade. It does affect, you know, tourism. Yes. If this is what people are saying, they don't want to come to that kind of country. So it's very, very much need to be dealt with in terms of rotation of the officers, so they don't feel comfortable in the post they are. You know, just really making sure that they know that, you know, bribery will be dealt with, yes, you know, with high punishment or something like that, you know. But there's no level of accountability, so everybody just kind of do what they want to do.
Well, I think the other question, and this is a big topic, and I'm hoping that you'll be on that table so you can speak about your experience. Because sometimes policies are made just, you know, just theories. Yes. But when you have people who've experienced, they can give you details. Correct. Then it will be important in formulating policies. But your car was wrecked big time. But your car came back that was whole. Miracle. So how did you? What happened? Did you just use the Pelumi superpower and just touch the car? And just, how did you fix the car? Because we saw your car broke down.
Because we saw the same car coming. So how did you do it?
So, what happened? So when the accident happened, there was definitely lots of discussion of, you know, rental cars, alternative car. But her name is Lumi, so it was actually named by the community members. So there's been a long-standing bond between me and her in terms of.
Sorry, say that again.
Her name is Lumi.
Whose name is Lumi?
The car name is Lumi.
The car is a pet.
Oluwadumi, actually. So it's like God in
Okay, so we're not naming cars.
We're naming cars because she's part of the journey. She's gone through a lot. She was sick of me at that point. Like this was almost entering Ghana. She's like, I'm sorry, it's going to Togo, and she's like, I'm done. Like I'm gonna just stop working. But we got her back to life. But yeah, in terms of the vehicle, so when after the accident, we towed her to Abidjan, where the mechanics were absolutely fantastic. Shout out to the Nigerian embassy in Cote d'Ivoire. They were amazing in, you know, just assisting after my accident and just finding a mechanic and just helping me in that situation. So do seek out, if you're doing trips like this, it wasn't something, I always connected embassies to kind of like visas. There's a broader aspect, you know, it's representation, it's protection, just even just calling them, so like, hey, I'm gonna
shout out again. So when
shout out to, you know, a massive shout out, you know.
But when you do wrong, we come for them. So when
exactly,
you do right,
we need to give them the credit. Like they really pulled it through, you know. Very, very ambassadors, like people that, you know, doing what they're meant to do in terms of their roles and going beyond what they're meant to do. So I'm really grateful. They really stepped in difficult time at Liberia, in Cote d'Ivoire. So yeah, we talked to the mechanic and they were hands-on. They were like 10 men working on it, panel beating and
working on her.
Working on her. Yeah, you know.
Sorry.
But yeah, honestly, so they brought her back to life. She's still, you know, not the same, but she's been through a lot, so we'll give her the credit.
Okay, so while we're giving out expos, I mean, we're telling people, oh, you can do this, you can do this. Pelumi, I'm sure you must have spent a lot for this trip, so that when people are planning, if you're planning, do you have money?
That one too.
Do you have money for it?
So first of all, shout out to my official sponsor, Osprey. They're a backpack company, amazing in terms of your traveling and things like that. So they came on board earlier on, and that's why you see their logo on my car called Osprey. Okay. So they were good. In terms of cost, I was looking at the higher end of £20,000 for the whole trip. It could be more. You know, I have to sit down and actually look at the Excel sheet. So it's not cheap, but again, I traveled through 16 different countries. So if you do the cost breakdown, it's like 1,000 plus for each country or something like that. So, you know, exactly.
What's fair?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll need to sit down, probably maybe more, but it's around that pricing.
Everybody says it's fair.
It's fair. £1,000.
He's trying to calculate it.
He's doing the math to naira.
That's a good money.
You know, thank God that our exchange rate, our naira is rebounding and
coming back.
But
you're looking at 40 M.
Depends on where he wakes up from. So when I heard that amount, I'm like, okay.
For Jeffrey that does the BS for
very expensive.
So £20,000 really.
No, I'm not saying because young people would like to do this, but when they hear the amount, they may just not like it anymore. So
that's what could fund
that's
them.
what I'm saying.
Yes, like so sponsorship is a great way, but personal, you know, it's 1 year of savings for from when I knew I was going to do it. You know, personal funds went into it as well. But yeah, definitely it's not cheap. Travel is not cheap. I don't know why people travel is never cheap. Now, what hobbies I could get into, I just traveling.
So let's talk about some of the things that we couldn't catch on the camera or that you didn't record that you would like us to know. You drove alone, right?
Alone.
Like you don't have a security. Let's put that on record. There was no security guy.
No chef,
cameraman.
No cameraman.
No chef. Nothing. Just
no logistic person. It was just me, myself, and God.
and Lumi.
Pelumi
and Lumi.
Exactly. On the road.
So talk us through the night hours, especially where, you know, even when you're driving in regular Nigerian road or any other African road, you're concerned about your safety.
Absolutely.
You know, so talk us through how you were able to navigate that, or you don't care?
I do care, because, you know, I do want to stay safe. So the journey took about more than 10,000 kilometers plus. I tried to avoid like nighttime driving. It was in this rare occasion that's almost forced to. So I could count in my hands how many times I actually drove at night. It was either I was almost getting there, I was like, let me just 1 hour extra past sunset or something. But most of my driving happened during the day. I had the air tag on me at one point, so my family could know exactly my pinpoint location in case of anything. You know, when I was driving, my window was always up and my door was always locked. So nobody, even if I'm on stationary traffic, no one could just pull up on me and open the door and grab something or something like that. So just being security conscious and being quite alert and very aware of my surrounding and just not, you know, trusting people too much. Sometimes I've had to lie, like I'm not alone, or my partner is down there, or my friends are in the pool, like just so that,
But it wasn't a lie. You were not alone. You had 200 million.
I had
Some were praying.
Oh, heavy prayer.
So you were not alone. You wasn't a lie.
Exactly.
You were not alone.
White lie. So yeah, there was definitely communities, and it's very important. Shout out to them. Like I started this journey, I said 12,000 followers on Instagram, 200 on TikTok, and we grew up to 200,000 on Instagram and more, almost 100,000 on TikTok. So that's just those two platforms. We have YouTube, we have Facebook. So honestly, the community has really stood up from, and I love how this travel has really caught. It's not just young Nigerians. It's not just old. It's not just white. It's not just Asian. It's like mixed, and it's just so beautiful to see people coming along and understanding that it's more than just Pelumi is doing this trip, but showing that the impossible can be done.
I need to ask two quick questions. Is there a GWR in the mix here, a Guinness World Record, or a record in the mix here?
I did not actually look into that, because it just wasn't about the record. The records are great, don't get me wrong. I love recognition and stuff, but this vision was so much bigger than that. But if you were going to do this, it would be the first female, but Guinness World Record doesn't actually differ by sex because they want it to be able to be broken by anybody. But there's probably something there. I probably just need to look into it.
On behalf of the morning brief, we're giving you a record. But there's this user that says, and this is King Kudus on X. By the way, there's lots of funny comments about your trip on it. So this person said, should they go back by road? I beg, I don't book her front seat. Now me first talk. So for those who want to go back.
I have had reservation for my boot space. I have someone say I will even hang on the top of the roof. Honestly, the support has been so immersed, and no, I wouldn't be driving backwards. This potential plan of Lumi being in a museum here in Lagos, I think.
You want to return to me?
No, she'll be here.
Be watching forever.
Did you bring Lumi, by the way, with you?
I didn't. She's at the University of Lagos, still having a prime spot.
She's resting. She needs to rest. All right, Pelumi. So you co-founded the Black Explorer. How will this journey impact that organization you co-founded, and what are you hoping to achieve going forward?
So our last issue for the Black Explorer is Africa is not a country, because it was quite disappointing when we were going to Africa and they just say, I'm going to Africa. It's like, where? It's 54 countries. Like, what part of it? When people going to Europe, they go to Spain or Asia or Italy. They kind of specify. So changing that narrative of what people consider to be Africa is not huts, it's not lions, it's not these random things. It's actually people going to see these diverse places. So that was very, very important for me. So in terms of the publication, it came to pass because it wasn't just, we just found that Black explorers, Black travelers, our stories were not being promoted or showcased. And that's what I wanted to do with this journey too as well, is really showcase. I remember being in Yamoussoukro, showing the biggest church in the world. And people were like, that's in Africa? I'm like, yes. Really just showing that, our continent is worth exploring, driving people. I've seen people say, I booked flights to this place because of you. Like having that authority in the field of of travel has just been something I'm excited about, and especially even transition that to Nigeria itself as a country and Lagos State especially. I think that would be just amazing to just get more people coming down to explore this beautiful place that we consider home.
So let's talk about food.
Oh yes, my favorite topic.
Yes, let's talk about food.
If I don't look it, by the way.
People say I love food. I'm like, all this food I've eaten.
This is one of the lamest who have asked a question.
I am listening.
Talk about food.
Let's talk about food.
From your experience.
Yes. West Africa is blessed in terms of cuisine. I'm going to say that. I've always said Nigeria has the best cuisine. It hasn't still moved from that. The diversity of our food is just 10 out of 10. People might say I'm biased. I don't want to hear it. It's good food. But honestly, I tasted some amazing food. There's just one debate, and don't cancel me on these guys. But when Ghana and Nigeria are arguing about jollof rice.
Pick your words.
No, let's
sit properly.
Film this. Get this
Be
well.
careful.
All right.
There's another winner.
Oh.
Is there a winner we know?
It's a winner people don't tend to talk about.
Okay.
But
it's not Nigeria.
No,
and
it's
not Ghana.
It's definitely not Ghana.
It's not Senegal.
Jeffrey, hold on.
Senegal.
Uh-oh.
You know we talked about Senegal's
jollof is just Gambia to Senegal. Their jollof is to die for. The way they put the fish and the vegetable, it just marry. It's just different. It's.
But I've eaten Gambian jollof. I was in Gambia.
Maybe are you sure we should not apologize to Alhaji Lai Mohammed?
What he said he had the best.
He said Senegal was
because
the
they
best
asked him between Nigeria jollof and Ghana jollof, and he said Senegal. Yes. We didn't know where Senegal.
So I have a theory.
And you know, another food critic talked about Senegal 2 weeks ago.
People should just eat it first.
So I'm surprised you guys are not seeing what's happening here.
What's happening?
Pelumi has eaten vegetables. If you're in Nigeria, you know what that means. They put something in that jollof, Pelumi. Because this is the height of it. We need to investigate it. But it's brilliant. So we have, and I think it speaks to the fact that, I mean, all of our cuisines and meals are fantastic in themselves, and we need to celebrate it. Nigeria's jollof is still the best.
It's still amazing, please don't get me wrong.
But, I mean, you can talk about some other meals that you had that got you.
So, honestly, I can't remember specific names, but in terms of just like traditional, it's very, very similar. That's one thing I found. So very heavy on the rice dish, and then stew, soup, spice. I just love the spice. Like, you know, there's one okra dish that they do, both in Ghana and in the Gambia too as well. But the Gambia one, they put more palm oil. I've never had okra palm oil, and they eat it with rice, which I don't
Liberia
normally do.
also
Liberia
has
something has like that. So there's just so sick, but a very close similarity, which just makes sense of the connection we have as you know, exactly as West Africa specifically.
I understand that you're getting a lot of attention, and you'll be meeting with some big people in the coming days, understandably. But I was also going to ask you, a lot of people know what you have done.
Yes.
They're wondering what is next for you. You're an explorer. Are you probably going to drive from here to Mars? If that's possible, I'm sure you will try. You're thinking about it. Honestly, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
But so what is a future for you like, and what would you like to anchor this around and fight for? We know that you have that zeal, that energy, but what will they be for you moving forward?
I think it's with two different things. The first being, you know, Pelumi is always going to be a traveler. She's going to continue to explore. She's going to continue to showcase different places. So that's very important for me, just so that I continue to show people that they can go and visit this place, especially as a solo female traveler. Sometimes we feel limited, we feel boxed in, we feel like limitation, especially society. So when you even get married and have kids, it's like, oh no, life ends. Like, you know, I cannot go exploring, especially when you have the desire. So just continue to showcase that. That's very, very important. Also to empower the chic girl, like, you know, the younger generation. And that is the reason why the travel ended in the University of Lagos was almost passing on the torch to the next generation to see that, look, I've done this, you are the next people that will go out and explore and do these things too as well. So being able to inspire them, being able to showcase those youth empowerment, I think that's very important for me, and just kind of like going to encourage people to step out of their comfort zone. Really, my idea was that people would say London to Lagos by road was impossible, and then they've seen me do it. So I want them to reconsider the things that they consider impossible in their life, and hopefully they go out and do those things. So really that's the message, for them to be inspired and to do the brave things they've always wanted to do.
So Pelumi, before I go, before we end this segment, I always talk to females who have done remarkable things Because there are so many girls looking up to you guys, especially people who are doing something different. So what would you like to tell that little girl right now, looking at you, admiring all you have achieved and wants to be like you?
My biggest advice, or my longest motto standing, is the magic is in the doing. You know, I could have still been umming and ahhing in London right now and not taking that brave step, but you actually have to step forth and do it. You can plan and replan and rethink and reevaluate and reassess, and all those are very important, but you actually have to take action. And that is where you see, like, you have to face fear in the face, and on the other side of it is everything you ever wanted. So go forth and do it. You know, I don't want to take the Nike slang, but like, just do it. Like, really step forward and do that.
All right.
I just wanted to find out quickly how you are handling.
See, everybody wants to ask.
Everybody wants to ask you.
Oh, right, the attention from, because you are now. I was saying that you look like a model, and you've maintained that look.
Thank you.
That's like the classic look. So model, now you have all the records in the bag. You have Lumi. There's so much about Pelumi. So how are you handling all the attention from the other side of the divide?
What's the other side of the divide?
From men.
Yeah,
from the guys. Let's
To be honest, I'm open, you know.
Okay.
I'm open to those kind of conversations.
Nice.
As long as there is purpose and direction to it.
Yes, please. Let them purpose.
As long as they're ready to travel with you.
And they have a passport, that's very important.
I just had to chip this in before we wrap up. Just chip this in. Maybe you forgot to ask how you grew up, how many things you broke at home, you know, just basically.
Look,
you think she was stubborn?
I spoke to my mom the other day.
Because we need to trace how she became what she is. This is a positive side. Let's look at how you all started.
I legit spoke to my mom the other day because I was very curious about my young, like how I grew up, like what was young Pelumi like? Because, you know, they say you tend to have this kind of tendency when you're young. And what she told me, she's behind me and she's smiling at me. What she told me was that, you know, I just used to wear my diapers and just walk around the house. So I was a gallivanter, I think, right from young. They never really knew what I was up to or kind of like. So I think the curiosity has always been there, just looking for out or just adventuring or doing my own thing. I think I've always been in-person kind of thing. Like, I've always known or have that self-direction of, oh, I want to do this. And I've had amazing parents that just cheered me on. Like, honestly, I don't think I'll be where I am if I've had limits or caps placed on me. Shout out to them. They are the
Thank you, Pelumi, Nubi. But before we go, so we have done the shout out to your mother. Now we have to stand up.
Okay.
And welcome your mom. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Olubukola Nubi joins us this morning.
And
Come here, mommy.
Love you.
Well, you produced an amazing woman, and we're so proud of her. I'm sure you're also very proud of her.
I do. Sincerely, I said I don't want to say anything, but I'm just been listening to the interview. If you can remember 2004, we traveled to US, and we're just everywhere on the streets of US and in New York, gallivanting and all this stuff. And after a while, we started moving together, traveling together, because I like traveling too.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see where you get that.
So you got it
from the tree. So the apple doesn't fall from the tree.
They said, oh, we need to visit 7 wonderland in the world. So we were able to do 2 together, and I was tired. So I back up, so he was able to continue.
Yes.
From there, I limited mine. I should continue.
So you took the torch from her.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
She's been an amazing
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pelumi. We wish you the very best. As you continue. Maybe you drive to Mass, but let us know when you're doing that.
I'll make sure to give you a
And shout out to your dad, Professor Timothy Nubi, of course.
And I do have to shout out to Channels as an organization. They were the first people that really captured the story. I just did well documentation in terms of really, you know, pushing my story forward. So honestly, forever grateful for that. So thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right.
So this is how we'll end the segment with Pelumi Nubi and her beautiful mother, Mrs. Olubukola Nubi. Of course, Nigerians watching out there, you can do it. So let's get
to it. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Stay
Bye.
If it is not subject to abuse, on this road we're not talking of maintenance in the next 2 years. Minimum of 2 years, if we don't have any abuse on the road. So then, as far as speed limit, I've mentioned earlier that the speed limit has been curtailed to 80. It's going to be displayed conspicuously now at the median, and then there will be speed limiting devices that will catch or capture anyone that is overstepping that, and you have Lagos State government to deal with at the renewal of your vehicle license.
I'm using this opportunity to appeal to everyone that there will be zero tolerance on anyone caught trying to mess around or destroy the infrastructure that has been put in place. This is for us all, and we should embrace it and keep it.
Well, let's talk about the Third Mainland Bridge, shall we? Yes, there's been a lot to talk about that, but you saw her speaking about well, I call it the new bridge. Let's just use it, the new bridge, and what is obtainable now moving forward. We have joining us on the show engineer Olukorede Kesha. She is Federal Controller of Works, Lagos State. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Welcome from the Third Mainland.
Thank you.
Because we saw you there, the Third Mainland Bridge, when it was reopened last week, fully to traffic. Now, two things stick out from that conversation you had with pressmen. One is speed limit. The other one we'll talk about it. So let's start with the speed limit, because that's like the major one. How are you planning to enforce speed limit? Do we have devices? Do we have last mile? We'll talk about the quality of the work done, absolutely. But that speed limit conversation, how is it going to work?
Good morning once again, and thanks for having me. On the day of the final opening of Third Mainland Bridge, you recall that I said the speed limit has been fixed for 80, and I said road safety officials are there at the moment trying to fix it. So if you drive through that road now, you will see it. It's actually 80 kilometers per hour. It has been fixed there. So we're planning to put CCTV. And the cost is in the pipeline now. And by the time that is done, the Lagos State government intend to put a tracking device anchored on our CCTV so that they can catch you when you overspeed. And then, like I said earlier, at the junction where you're renewing your vehicle license, then you'll be surcharged and you'll pay for it.
Fantastic. So it's as simple as that. Same thing you've seen with the camera capturing if your license is expired and the rest. So those devices.
And if you break traffic rules too.
Exactly. If you run a red light. Exactly.
Yes.
So that's in the mix. Fantastic. But talk to us about the quality of work done, because you were saying that if the road is used well, we shouldn't have to fix it in the next 2 years.
That's minimum.
Minimum. So what's the quantum of work that had to go into Third Mainland Bridge? The expansion joints, the resurfacing, the banisters, and the rest. Speak to us about that work.
It's like you've walked through that journey with me.
Well,
because you're already saying
as a journalist, you have to do some of
a lot of work went into it. Like, thank God you live in Lagos, kind of, and you saw how that place was before now. Most of the expansion joints were gone. The asphalt overlay peeling off at most of the sections, so rendering that place almost impassable. The design speed became like 20 on Third Mainland Bridge, you understand, which was kind of an abomination. But we had to restore the integrity of that bridge by totally overhauling that asphalt overlay that we met on that bridge. That's what this new government did. Then we changed the defective expansion joints, overlaid, and then the missing guardrails are being fixed at the moment. If you go there now, they are being fixed. You see that a lot of them are missing. So, and then the ones even that were there, we had to repaint them, wash them, and then repaint them. The painting is still ongoing. Then we did lane marking, median painting, the parapet painting, and we did what has never been done before, like solar lights on the parapet walls. What we normally do, or what we have there before, was the median lights. But now, apart from that, in addition to that, you have lights at the parapet wall, and then you have stored lights, cat-eye lights on the deck.
Itself.
So if you go there, the beauty of Third Mainland is actually in the night. If you go to Third Mainland Bridge in the night, you wonder whether you are still in Nigeria. So we want to, this government would like to replicate that across all our roads, on all our roads across the states. And we're not only treating the superficial, which is what you see, that's the superficial. We're doing the substructure under deck. If you look at it now, you see that the deck is being supported by some structures. We call it piers. And that pier is being supported by pie cap. And that pie cap is resting on piers. So we're treating all those elements now. It is ongoing at the moment. We want to ensure that the structural integrity of that bridge is not in doubt. That's what we're doing now. It has been a little corrosion of some of the members. We want to restore that integrity 100%. So work is ongoing now at those joints at the moment. And then by the time the contractor is done with the fixing of the guardrails and the CCTV, we'll have a brand new third mainland.
Talking about brand new third mainland, it means a lot of things are new, and we've had cases in Nigeria across roads where people steal items. Is there any plan for security on that bridge to ensure that those things remain in place and do the work they're meant for?
It's no longer be business as usual. Like I told people earlier, on Saturday, we witnessed that some people were trying to be funny on the bridge.
Already?
Oh, already?
Yes,
has started already?
Already. And I called the Commissioner of Police.
Wow.
Immediately. He responded swiftly and deployed the DPO at Oworo and Bariga, and they started patrolling. And I told them, this is our baby. They need to increase patrol and surveillance on that bridge. And that's what they're doing. Even the Marine Police, I call them every second. The Marine Police, they are inside the waters. And they tell me, once they see anything, there are divers, there are this thing. I said, once they are not around the bridge, you understand? They should be minimum 1.5 kilometers away from the bridge. Any activity that wants to happen inside this water should be minimum 1.5 kilometers away from the bridge.
That's quite some distance.
Yes.
As in on both sides?
On both sides, 1.5. This is the median. So to the right and to the left, 1.5. And they've been ensuring that, and they report that to me. Our eyes are there, the engineers patrol it, police patrol it, and security surveillance is increased.
Is it 247?
It's 247.
And you think it will be consistent?
It will be consistent. This administration is committed to it. There's a lot of commitment. We cannot spend this much. If we just turn our eyes away from it, within a few months, they're going to vandalize it.
So talking about those vandals or potential vandals, is the ministry also having a conversation with the community around here? Because they could help. Because they know who potentially can destroy or steal or whatever it is that they want to do to destroy national assets. Besides the state institution like the police and the water, the guards and all of that, the community, are they being engaged?
So we're talking about collaboration.
I'm talking about the community around the water.
Neighborhood Watch.
Okay.
We're in touch with them.
Okay.
They were still in my office on Friday. They are the best.
But are they part of the community?
They are part of the community. Each neighborhood ward is drafted from that community. They don't bring people from Ajegunle to Bariga. No. So they live there.
Okay.
They are around there. They know their people.
Because it's scary for what you said, that just barely days after this was done, somebody is looking at this and what he sees is not beauty, is what he can steal. It's
somebody drove on that road only on rim.
Wow.
And peeled off all the asphalt.
Wow.
Ooh. I'm sure the tire busted.
I think I actually saw a mark there over the
deep
weekend.
One.
It was already a deep one, yes. But I noticed something like that.
A long stretch like that. I had to beg the contractor to go back and redo it. So for how long are we going to do that? So we're going to keep our eyes on it. And I've told people, if your tire get busted on the bridge, just feel safe.
So is it safe now? Because that's another thing.
Very safe.
If your car is broken down or something,
and
people don't want to wait because they know that place can be dangerous.
No, it's no longer dangerous.
Okay,
it's
so
no longer in the dark.
Okay.
You understand? There's light everywhere, and surveillance has been increased. Security surveillance has been increased. The neighborhood watch, they are everywhere there.
So for proper context, so that people know how important, you know, when we say this is one of the most important bridges in Nigeria, if not the most important bridge, people don't get it. How many vehicles ply this road in a year? Do you have that data? And of course, what's the next time we're going to see this rehabilitation? How long is this going to last for us to need another rehabilitation? 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years?
It's supposed to be 5 years.
Okay,
but I tell you, if it is not subject to abuse, every good thing can be abused. You understand? For example, if a vehicle got burnt on that bridge now, it's going to remove the bitumen contents that binds the constituents of the asphalt. So it's going to develop auto. Just like you sew a beautiful dress now and then you put it inside a bleach. It's going to be spoiled, washed away.
Which means you will take the speed limit thing, the CCTV cameras very seriously.
We are going to do that. We are going to have a monitoring 24 hours. That's Adekunle. That's Adekunle interchange. You can see there is a land there, a setback. That's where we're going to use. It's going to be a story building. We are setting it out now. 24 hours monitoring.
Okay, I said.
Yes, that's by that billboard that you're seeing.
Right.
And that land there.
Okay, down.
Down.
Okay. I know that's interchange that leads to...
It's going to be the monitoring room. You understand? The studio where it will be monitored 24 hours.
So there's been
it's going to be very convenient for them. We're going to have a jetty around there. So we're going to have boats, patrol vehicles, everything.
For transportation
is part of this contract.
But speak to us about the debates. There's been a lot of debate online. Good job, Lagos State government, for fixing this road. Some say, no, it's not Lagos State government, it's Federal Ministry of Works. But Lagos State government partnered with it. And there's been that back and forth on social media. So speak to us about this particular contract. When was it awarded? Because the current administration and the previous administration supporters are also at loggerheads. No, it was Tinubu government. No, it was Buhari government. Again, you wonder why we need to do these things. But just to set the records clear, when was it approved? Who spent the money? Who played what role in this rehabilitation?
Before the advent of this new administration, the last administration awarded emergency repairs of Third Mainland Bridge. It was not total like this. It was just to resurface, mill and resurface a large portion. Not the entire scope was stretch of the road was scoped. It was a percentage of it, I think because of funds limitation. So then to fix the guardrails and then 1 or 2 expansion joints, that was what was approved. When this new government came on board, they discovered that Third Mainland Bridge needed more than that. We looked at it again and we said, if we just do this, we're going to be doing this every year or every six months. And then the minister said, no, the honorable minister said, no, we can't do this. So this bridge what it needs is total and comprehensive repairs, including the underdeck, including the substructure, and then the superstructure, which is the bridge deck. And then he asked us to scope everything. We scoped everything, and then took it to the president, and then the president, in his magnanimity, decided to approve everything. And then it was termed an emergency repairs, because that's what that bridge actually needed, you understand? And it's a comprehensive one. A very comprehensive one, which has never happened. So this project is born out of the vision of the present Honorable Minister, Senator Dave Umai. So, and ably supported by the president, because if the president hadn't supported us all the way,
given the approval,
yes, all the way, we wouldn't have had this.
So the Lagos State government did not spend money
they supported. No, they didn't spend a dime. They supported us by managing the traffic. You understand? While we had to do the work, and the traffic was well managed, and that was why we were able to even deliver ahead of time. It was supposed to last, it was supposed to be a 6-month project, but the contractor delivered within 5 months.
You know, one other thing, I was looking at this, something came to my mind, and I think I was having a conversation with a professor from University of Lagos, where he was talking about some level of coordination amongst ministries. Now we're talking about the coastal road, Lagos, Calabar coastal road and all of that. And then there'll be, I understand there'll be a railway in between, more like the median. So looking at this Third Mainland Bridge, is the Ministry of Works looking beyond just the road? Are you also looking at other potential around this in terms of the waterways and what can be made out of it, working with maybe the Ministry of, is it Marine, Blue Economy and all of that? Because I know abroad, all of this vegetation and all of that would have been put to use so that one is overlooking the other is a beautiful scenario. Is there a conversation in that direction? Just besides us driving through a bridge and we're looking at Unilag on one end, looking at one end of the sea on the other, nothing really happening and all of this?
Not to my knowledge. Maybe the leaders are doing that. Maybe the leaders are doing that at the moment. Okay. So we are just vested with that responsibility of fixing the roads, and that's what we're doing.
Are there other bridges that will go through this process too?
Yes, there are other bridges. Eco Bridge. Because
we have Qatar Bridge.
Eco Bridge is undergoing what is happening here now, but we're concerned about the structural integrity of the bridge first at Eco Bridge. Yeah. Once they are done, they will come to this office. Then Qatar Bridge is the same, and Ido Bridge. Ido is the one linking Qatar Bridge to Ijora. So we're doing all that at the moment. All the 4 bridges are receiving the government's attention at the moment. So once we're done with the under deck elements and then the substructure for those other bridges, we're going to come back to the surface. But because Third Mainland Bridge, the surface was really bad, that was why we had to quickly do that in conjunction with the underdeck.
I'm seeing people here saying 80 kilometers per hour on this tour. How is that even possible? Because once people see that road, they're like, wow.
It's tempting.
And they see the odometer can get to 160. Like, okay, let me test. Let me get to 140.
And once you test...
But you test, you would also test when you get to
when
jail.
When you test, you test with your
Why
money.
that speed limit? Is it for the integrity of the road or for human safety?
It's for human safety. It's actually for human safety. The moment that bridge was opened, the first site, within a week we had an accident that claimed a life.
Ooh.
Yes. The guy wanted to do it maybe in 2 minutes.
Wow.
You understand? So we didn't want to have that. The structure is not to claim lives. We're supposed to enjoy it, savour it.
And it's not for Formula One.
It is not, exactly. Where you go and test if you want to do that, you go to testing track.
Maybe government should also invest in a Formula One racetrack for those people. But you said something quite instructive, that the work is not actually done yet.
Which work?
For the Third Mainland Bridge, the entirety, the rehabilitation, is it the piers, is it the...
It's ongoing.
The CCTV and also
those ones
in its
are ongoing.
totality, when will the total work be done? You said they're superficial, use the term.
Yes.
So when will everything be done?
We're looking at the end of this month for the superficial. The CCTV lights, the solar lights, as we see now, we've completed on one side. This side is almost completed. The median two is halfway. So we're looking at the end of this month, all that should be in place. The guardrails, we're still painting them. We've painted one side, we've painted, but in the next 2 weeks, the painting should be done. We should be done with that. Then the solar lights, the CCTV, the major thing is the structure, so which we are planning to do. We wanted to use a porter cabin before, but the Honorable Minister said no, he wanted a more...
Proper building.
Yes, proper building. So we're going to set that one out now. So by the time, end of this month,
the CCTVs should also be in place.
Yes, yes.
And then the Lagos State government will now fix the...
Yes, a tracking device.
For these overspeeders.
The overspeeders.
That should also happen.
So yes. They are waiting on us, yes. Once the CCTV is in place, they will just come and hang that.
Is there also a restriction on putting posters and all of that? You know what?
Or advertisement.
Is there a provision for it? Or
yes, there is.
There's a provision for it now.
Like billboards, electronic.
Is it electronic or now they have to do what exactly is going to happen?
Electronic, just like something that is there.
Okay.
Just like that is there. There's provision for that.
Okay. So make
it's
money
been
on the side
given to somebody. Pardon?
So make money on the side for the government.
Yes.
Fantastic. I would like to thank you so much. It's good to see some of these works being done. Some say, why are you celebrating this? I mean, this should be a given. In other societies, they don't celebrate road construction. They don't open it. They just fix it and life goes on. But I mean, we know where we're at as a nation and we know where we're trying to be. So we celebrate the little things and then we fire government when it's time for the bigger things. But Engineer Olukorede Kesha, thank you so much for your time. She's the Federal Controller of Works, Lagos, and we look forward to bigger projects that we can celebrate as a nation.
Lagos Calabar is a bigger one. It's a mega one.
When should we celebrate that one?
When should we celebrate? How many years is that supposed to take?
3 years.
3 years.
36 months.
You know, we didn't want to engage you on that one because we understand we don't have any more time because there's already a controversy with the landmark issue.
Yes. But that will be discussion for
when we come, when you come back again, we're going to, because I don't think there's any project bigger than that in the history of Nigeria. No. I've never seen anything like that.
No, you can actually speak to it, particularly people who are saying there's foul play here. Why are you demolishing this? Is this targeted at people and the rest? So maybe you can just address that 30 seconds.
No, are we on there?
Of course we are.
We'll bring you back to talk about it.
All right. Engineer Olukorede Kesha, always available to speak to these issues. Thank you so much for your time on the program. And that's so much we can take. Yeah, I mean, these conversations literally don't end, but we have to end it at this point. We'll continue in the coming days. I'm Kayode Okikilo. Don't forget that Sunrise Daily comes up right after this.
All right. Thank you so much for watching today. And for those who have holidays from tomorrow, I wish you the very best. Muslim brothers and sisters, happy celebration. I'm Anne Nwawaju.
And that's it on the program as well. Of course, we're going to bring Engineer back. She's very brave. She will speak about our Lagos Coastal Road down to Calabar. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
Goodbye.